I have a message that goes off at my phone at 5 p.m. every day, and it says, be your future self now. I actually changed that message to put your fucking phone away. I want my children to know that I'm an active and present father in their life. I never want them to think like, dude, dad doesn't pay attention, dad doesn't care. Be a present parent in your children's life, and I guarantee it's gonna create a better relationship for everybody in the household. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crane. We're here in the studio in Santa Barbara, California. I got my beautiful wife, Jessica, here. She's super pregnant. She's listening in, and I'm glad she's listening in on this message because today I'm going to talk about being a good parent, being a good husband or spouse, and being present with your family. Now, this is something that I'm constantly working at, and sometimes I feel like I do really good, and other times I don't. You know, I'm running a business. I got like 12 team members I'm delegating. I got a million fucking pieces moving around all the time, and I'm trying to get shit done. And if you're an ambitious guy like me and you want to, conquer all of your goals and dreams in life and live the ultimate life, the biggest challenge you're probably going to face in doing that is knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off. My problem is I'm so fucking obsessed and driven. If I didn't have a wife and kids, I would work 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. I would never stop. Thank God for my wife and kids because they allow me to slow down and really soak up the most important thing in life, which is our relationships in those moments. But the biggest challenge a lot of us entrepreneurs and business owners face is being present. Like we grind and work all day, then you come home and it's really hard just to flip that switch and turn it off. Because that's what's making you the money. That's what's building the business. That's what's getting you the results. It's that process in your mind and then taking action. Like imagine being a business owner 20 or 30 or 50 years ago, right? When you didn't have an iPhone. You work all day, you come home, and you don't have a choice but to really be present. You don't have this thing in your pocket and in your hand that's an extension of your work, an extension of your profession. So we're challenged more nowadays because we bring this thing home that's really like become an extended part of who we are and what we do, and now it's right there. Any second, any notification, anytime that phone buzzes or vibrates, you fucking check it. You check it, you check it. And it's a habit that we have to learn to curtail and have self-discipline and restraint over. I mean, I can think of an easy way is like just leave my phone in the truck when I come home. I should probably do that, right? I have a message that goes off at my phone at 5 p.m. every day, and it says, be your future self now. I actually changed that message to put your fucking phone away. And I did that because last night my wife said, Sean, you're always on your phone. And I'm like, damn, dude, I've been slipping, And right now I'm building my business and I'm growing, and there's a lot that I need to do. So I've been in go mode. But I have a wife and children, and my wife is 8-9 months pregnant. I got 2 little ones, an older boy. They need my presence and attention. I never want to be the father that's on his phone when his kids are talking to him. I never want to be the father that looks back and goes, dude, I was on my phone all the time while my children were growing up. Like, how are they so old? And this is something I constantly think about because it's a challenge for all of us. And I feel like a lot of times I do well. Sometimes I don't. The reason I'm bringing this up is because last night I took my son Preston to Krav Maga. I was sitting there watching him. And for the whole time he was doing his thing, I was watching. And what really stood out to me is every single parent around me was on their phones. This guy was on his phone. The woman over there was on her phone. The one next to her was on her phone. There was a couple right next to me. They were looking through like a newspaper, and they were both on their phone. And I'm thinking, man, your freaking kids are out there like doing all this cool stuff. They're learning martial arts. They're doing an obstacle course. They're playing. They're giggling. They're having a good time. And none of the parents were paying attention. Every time Preston looked over at me, I gave him a thumbs up. I said, that's right, buddy. When he was doing like his sit-ups or his push-ups, I always run out there and help him. I want my children to know that I'm an active and present father in their life. I never want them to think like, dude, dad doesn't pay attention. Dad doesn't care. Because that's the message that we send to them when we're not looking them in the eyes when they're talking and when we're always on our phones. And then they'll start to model that behavior over time as well. They'll want to do the same thing. So I think nowadays in 2025, this is one of the biggest challenges for all parents. There's a couple things, man. Like number one, we're the example and we set the standard for our children and who they're going to become. They're going to shape their behavior over time more of what you do rather than what you say. So your example and how you operate is everything. I think a lot of parents slack when it comes to the nutrition at home, but I think the other one too is the amount of time they're on their phones and not paying attention to their children. What's going to be the best way for a person like me or you, if you struggle with this as well, to be present when you go home? I think the best way is just leave your phone in the car for 2 or 3 hours when you get home. And at first, it's going to feel uncomfortable because you're used to checking it and your brain likes that dopamine response that takes place when you look at your screens and you get shit done and you answer a message. But you got to ask yourself, okay, who am I going to become long term and how is it going to affect my relationships? Will 3 hours at the end of the day really jeopardize my business? Am I really going to lose out on that much money or opportunity? No, you won't. It's a flawed process in our thinking if we feel like we always have to be on our phones, always checking something, always doing something. That's not life. When I get home today, Jessica, she's listening maybe. I'm going to leave my phone in the car. I'm going to leave my phone in the truck in my glove box, and I'm not going to go out and get it until later in the night after we've wind down. I'm going to be fully present. I'm going to play with my freaking kids. I often play chess or checkers with Scarlett. Presto always wants me to play with his toys. And I'm going to have a conversation with my wife. Those little things done consistently over time are the world to my family. But how often do we go home and we miss out on those things because we're distracted? So I guess for me, this is a wake-up call, and I'm sharing and just being honest with you, and it's a wake-up call for you parents at home too. And the ones at Krav Maga, man, like you're there for 30 minutes with your child. Put your fucking phone away. Watch them playing and learning. It's so important. Be a present parent in your children's life, and I guarantee it's going to create a better relationship for everybody in the household.